Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're looking past that iconic silhouette, you know the one, and diving deep into the incredible stories hidden inside the stones of Angkor Wat. We're going to peel back the layers and get into some mind-blowing stuff. Ancient astronomy, forgotten pilgrims, and engineering that will honestly just change the way you see this place forever.
So, we've all heard that classic story, right? A magnificent city just swallowed by the jungle for hundreds of years, until some brave European explorer stumbles upon it. It's a great story. But here's the thing. That's not really what happened. Not even close. Angkor Wat was never truly lost. And the real story? It's way more complex and, frankly, a whole lot more interesting. So, this whole lost city idea, it pretty much comes down to one guy, a French naturalist named Henri Mouhot. When his journals, full of these dramatic sketches and descriptions, were published back in Europe in the 1860s, they caused a massive sensation. You know, vine-choked towers, giant stone faces staring out of the jungle. It totally cemented this romantic image. But he wasn't some explorer discovering a lost ruin. Nope. He was just a visitor to a living, breathing site, and he was guided there by local people who had known it was there all along.
Okay, so let's really unpack that myth. The truth is, Angkor Wat has this long, unbroken history of visitors, and a lot of them were showing up centuries before any Europeans did. The temple was always known, it was always respected, and it was always a major destination for pilgrims from all across Asia. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. This timeline just flips the whole story on its head. I mean, look at this. All the way back in 1296, a Chinese diplomat gives us this super detailed account of the Khmer Empire. Then in 1586, a Portuguese friar says it's so amazing he can't even describe it with a pen. But here's the kicker. A Japanese visitor drew the oldest map we have of the temple way back in the 1630s. That's a full 230 years before Maho ever showed up. And this right here, this is one of my favorite untold stories. In the early 1600s, Japanese Buddhist pilgrims were making the long journey to Angkor. And you can still see their ink inscriptions today, right there on the temple pillars. One guy in 1632 even celebrated the Khmer New Year there. And get this, in a wild case of mistaken identity, these pilgrims actually thought they had reached the legendary Jetavana Monastery in India. It's just incredible proof that Angkor Wat was this major hub for people all over Asia, long before the West even knew it existed. Okay, so we've talked about the people. Now let's talk about the temple itself, because it is so much more than just a pile of beautifully carved stones. Angkor Wat isn't just a building, it's a physical map of the Hindu universe. It's an architectural model of the cosmos, designed to literally align heaven and earth. So how on earth did they do that? Well, the builders used this incredibly sophisticated geometric code, all based on a 49-square grid. Think of it like a sacred blueprint, or like the secret source code for the entire temple. Every single measurement, every alignment, every proportion was dictated by this grid, all to create a perfect, sacred space that was literally fit for the gods on earth. It's this invisible layer of meaning that controls everything you see. And here's where all that cosmic blueprint stuff gets real, like goosebumps real. The entire temple is basically a giant astronomical observatory. If you stand in just the right spot on the main causeway at dawn on the spring equinox, you will see the sunrise directly over the very tip of the central tower. This was absolutely not an accident. It was a hugely powerful annual event, symbolically connecting the king to the heavens and cementing his divine right to rule. But for all its amazing cosmic alignments, Angkor Wat is also a flat-out masterpiece of earthly engineering. The sheer scale and brilliance it took to build this thing are just as mind-blowing as its spiritual design. Just try to wrap your head around this number. It's estimated that it took 300,000 laborers, something like 6,000 elephants, and over 30 years to finish. They had to quarry millions of tons of sandstone from a mountain 50 kilometers away and then float it to the site on a network of canals. The precision was just unbelievable. The stones were fitted together without any mortar, so perfectly that you still can't slip a razor blade between them. And this is where the engineering gets truly genius. You see that massive moat surrounding the temple? It's almost 200 meters wide. You might think it's just decorative, right? Symbolically, yes, it represents the cosmic ocean, but its functional purpose is what's really critical. It's basically a massive hydraulic stabilizer. By keeping the water table constant all year round, the moat stops the sandy soil underneath from drying out and shifting, which would cause the entire billion-ton structure to just
collapse. It's the secret to Angkor Wat's survival.
So, where did all this incredible knowledge come from? The cosmology, the engineering, the art, all of it? Well, to answer that, we have to rewind the clock another 1,000 years or so to the very birth of the Khmer Kingdom, which was forged in a cultural union with India. The foundational legend of the Khmer people is this great story about an Indian Brahmin priest who sails to Cambodia and marries a local Naga princess. Now, this is more than just a cool myth. It's a symbol for the real-world fusion of Indian culture with local Khmer power. This union created the whole concept of the Deva Raja, or God King, which would define the kingdom for centuries. And the wildest part? Recent DNA analysis actually shows a major South Asian genetic footprint in the area dating right back to this era.
Now, what's so important to understand here is that this Indianization, as it's called, was a peaceful process. This was not a military takeover at all. It happened over centuries through trade on the seas. Indian merchants and priests brought with them Sanskrit, which became the language of the royals. They introduced Hinduism and Buddhism, and the amazing architectural styles of South Indian dynasties heavily influenced the temples and the writing of the Khmer. But as we know, even the greatest empires don't last forever, and the Khmer kingdom eventually faced its decline. In a strange twist, the very systems that made Angkor so powerful also planted the seeds of its downfall. But, the story doesn't end there. See, Angkor was what you'd call a hydraulic city. Its entire existence depended on this massive, incredibly complex water management system. But that system was fragile. Centuries of deforestation caused erosion that clogged the canals with silt. Then, around the year 1300, the climate shifted, bringing intense droughts followed by massive floods that the system just couldn't handle. With its lifeblood cut off and with rival kingdoms pressing in, the political center of the empire moved away, leaving Angkor to the monks, and eventually the forest. And this is where the story comes full circle, in a really beautiful way. After the horrors of the Khmer Rouge regime, Cambodia asked for international help to save its heritage. And the very first country to answer that call was India. In 1986, the Archaeological Survey of India started a huge restoration project, stabilizing the temple and cleaning those magnificent reliefs. It's just a powerful, modern echo of that ancient cultural connection that helped create Angkor in the first place. So when you think about it, was Angkor Wat ever really a lost city, or has it always been something more? A Hindu cosmos, a Buddhist sanctuary, a national symbol, and a World Heritage Site. It kind of makes you think, maybe a monument is never really static. Maybe it's just a living story, constantly being rewritten by the people who build it, live in it, leave it, and finally find it all over again. Thank you so much for joining us to uncover the untold story of Angkor Wat. Hey, if you learned something new about this incredible place, let us know down in the comments. And please hit that like button and subscribe to Info Now for more deep dives into the stories that shape our world. We'll see you next time.